rezoning matters. 10A is rezoning north of East Foster Road. Ordinance conditionally rezoning approximately 2.69 acres of land located north of East Foster Road between North Dubuque Street and Prairie du Chien Road.
The zoning district that it's becoming is just RS12. It's consistent with the land use policy in our comprehensive plan and is observing the protections that were intended there. Since nothing's really changing, it's not changing the character of the neighborhood in any way, it would also be consistent with that criteria.
Can I get a motion to give first consideration?
So moved, Harmson.
Second, Alter.
Roll call, please.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Moe,
Yes.
Sala.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. 10B, rezoning south of East Foster Road. Ordinance rezoning approximately 2.69 acres of land located south of East Foster Road between North Dubuque Street and Prairie du Chien Road. Welcome again, Danielle.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this is the second part of the two for the land swap that's occurring. The subject property is bounded here in the white outline. It's on the south side of Foster Road this time, just a little bit farther east of where we were just looking. There's no condition here because there's no need to get ahead of a building permit. It's already happened.
Motion to give first consideration.
So move, Saleh.
Second, Mo.
Roll call, please.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Moe,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. 10C, rezoning North Governor Street. Ordinance conditionally rezoning approximately 5.49 acres of property located between North Dodge and North Governor Streets. And this is a motion to pass and adopt, although the applicant is requesting deferral to June 17th. Can I get a motion to defer to June 17th, 2025?
Motion to defer to June 17, 2025.
Moved by Salah, seconded by Alter. Motion passes 7-0. Resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the 2025 Order Pavement Patching Project.
My name is Tim Schmedeke, and I'm a civil engineer here in the engineering department. We currently have 25 locations in need of repair in Iowa City. Iowa City experiences roughly 70 water main breaks a year over a 5-year span. The estimated construction cost of this project is $360,000 based on the 25 sites that we currently have.
The homeowner, how long can they expect to have their driveways or their impacted areas?
Rough estimates, a day or
Okay.
two.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank
yeah.
you.
Roll call, please.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Moe,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. 11B, wastewater treatment facility digester complex rehabilitation, Phase 1 project.
The green box below, that's the new renewable natural gas system. And I think you all are familiar with what's going on there, but they're going to be taking digester gas produced as a waste product and converting it into actual natural gas to put into a pipeline. At its core, it's just an upgrade of the plant, of a portion of the plant, because those plants need to spend money on them every 20 years or so, and these digesters haven't been updated for about 24 years now. So we're replacing the mixing systems in there. We are reducing the amount of power that they will use by up to 50%, so that's savings of probably $25,000 to $30,000 a year. The decision was made to put in the screens that will actually strain out those plastics and other materials that you really don't want on the land. We're putting in a silo to store what's called high-strength waste. So high-strength waste is from industries like food production facilities. They usually have material that goes to the landfill or goes to, sometimes it's land applied. It's really highly concentrated pollutant material, but it's great for digestion because high pollutant means it has a lot of energy in it, and that energy can be converted into gas, and that gas can then be converted into natural gas. The treatment plant is shown up on the top of this picture. The red line is the approximate route of the pipeline. Mid-American will design and build that pipeline and own it and maintain it. Some of the preliminary projections were about $3 million in rebates through the Inflation Reduction Act. That would come after the project is built and you're actually selling gas on the pipeline.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how important that is from a sustainability perspective?
So from an ecological standpoint, this does have a much better carbon footprint because you're replacing natural gas that would otherwise have to be used or purchased as virgin natural gas.
Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Mo.
Second, Alter.
Council discussion.
Good
It
work.
is exciting.
It's exciting.
It's like extraordinary.
It's been kind of cool to watch it develop over the last
several years, too.
Roll call, please.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Saleh,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. 11C, fiscal year 26, aid to agencies. Resolution allocated human services aid to agencies funding for fiscal year 2026, July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Erica Kubley with Neighborhood Services. So Aid to Agencies is our annual human services funding for nonprofits who are serving low-income residents of Iowa City. Any agency funded this year as a legacy will receive funding next year as well in FY27 at a prorated amount based on the FY27 approved budget. The allocations are organized starting with the highest scoring agencies at the top.
If I could add to that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Erica, some of the larger percentages increase are reflecting the new minimum allocation as well. So you can see free lunch, aging services, houses into homes, all were around that $15,000 level, which is the minimum allocation. But as Erica mentioned before, with the new consolidated plan, we pushed that up to 20,000. So a lot of that jump is just getting them to the minimum.
Missy Forbes, I'm the executive director of 4Cs, and I have spoken with you guys and corresponded a lot about our funding. And I think when I was at the work session, you brought up a very term that hit, and it was the ARPA cliff. 4Cs, a few years ago, I met with city staff and talked about our funding issues, and we were able to capitalize on the ARPA funding, so to support the work, the innovative work to kind of keep our organization relevant, and we're coming to a close of all of that funding. Imagine what Johnson County looks like without 4Cs, without Home Ties, without the advocacy work that we do, and the additional support that we do to support individuals who want to do the work and stay in the work. Without 4Cs, this community looks a lot different.
Scott Haas, Executive Director of Iowa Valley Habitat for Humanity. The application does a nice job of capturing a snapshot of what we'll do in that period, but it doesn't capture the homes that we built the previous year or the previous period. Even though those people are still enjoying the benefits of their home and it's still an affordable housing unit that we don't get to report on.
I'm Sharif from the Center for Work Justice. Aid to agency and other government support for us has always been tremendous. It has been the tool that we use to expand and extend our services to people in workplace when they are encountering housing issues, and especially now for many of the migrants and the people who really are forced to navigate, the issues around, the government immigration policy and practices. I really appeal for the council and for the city to consider all the things that the Center for Work Justice is doing and support us by extending the funds provided.
In my view, we're confronted again with a lack of quite enough funding to go around to all the agencies.
The Director of Child Care Workforce Development at 4Cs. I had written something, and I am not going to read it because I actually just want to kind of talk to you about how we're all connected. There's a lot of wonderful organizations that we also share the same community, and we're serving the same exact people, and so I just wanted to highlight that as well. Crisis care is an opportunity to provide a night or two for children in need.
Long story short, because of 4C's resources, I have recently realized my dream. I'm opening my own child care center in the fall.
I would like to see 4Cs receive higher funding than it is. Unfortunately, we are in a situation where there's a pie, and the pie is only so big.
While I understand also 4Cs, and I will also support increasing funding for them, I really want to raise serious concern about the two legacy agencies, Dream City and the Center for Work Justice, that being awarded zero funding in this year Aid to Agency cycle. These agencies are recognized in the city STEP 2025 for their high performance and long-standing service to low-income residents. And if they apply on time and they are in a good standing and continue to serve vulnerable population, I think they should not be excluded from the funding entirely. Giving these agencies zero send really a wrong message to our community, especially now for like this bad political climate. CWJ is one of the few organizations in our city that constantly support immigrants and low-wage workers who are under increasingly pressure in today's political climate.
In a moment like this, when Center for Workers' Justice does so much seen and unseen work for the immigrant population here in Iowa City, and they just provide like essential above and beyond service to them. Immigrant communities are going around or just living their daily lives very scared right now. And I think that slashing all funding for the Center for Workers' Justice at a time like this is not responsible. We can continue to dig in and not play the game that people at the state and federal government want us to do, and that's to pit us against each other and make us fight for scraps.
It's a grown-up relationship between the agencies and between council and United Way as well. I agree with the political and cultural and actual reality that we're living right now. I very much. I appreciate your perspective, Councilor Burgess, about when we approved the budget before, we had no flippin' idea what was about to be unleashed. And the need is even greater, and even while the threat is greater, right? So we have this double whammy.
We need more support. We wish we had more money. The voices that haven't spoken, that were maybe not given the full amount, while I am all about honoring and recognizing the need for our community, I want to just maybe pause to say, how do we do that?
The professional city staff looks and sees who's actually spending their money on the things they promised they were going to spend it on, who's actually spent it, and who still has money left over. I was compelled by Councilor Burgess's sort of change in the political tenor to say, yes, we should increase funding, but I'm opposed to us sort of swerving into the lane of what the professional city staff does. Yes, I'm okay with finding a way to find more money, but I really want to stay out of being specific about this organization ought to get more and that ought to get less.
I'd caution you a little bit to look at those requests, because different agencies come into this process with a different mindset on requests.
What we're faced with is that equitable portion of this, or I would say just how do you do this on the spot?
You don't. You don't. That's the point.
I agree with Mao.
How much we have in the Black Lives Matter? Have a million?
600, isn't it?
Just over 620,000.
Sure. I am advocating more money for CWJ again because this time they are working hard to reach to immigrants communities. They're doing new programs to educate them about what's going on. The work is being suddenly increased without budgeting for it. Coming from where? Coming from the Black Lives Matter funding. Dream City, 20,000. CWJ 35. 4Cs adding 15,000 more, and Habitat adding 10,000 more. This is $80,000, and it can come from the Black Lives Matter times 2 will be $160,000, which is coming from Black Lives Matter, and I think that money is there for a reason. Whether it's Dream City, CWJ, 4Cs, Habitat, and if we want to do that, let us just take $80,000 from Black Lives Matter times 2 years will be $160,000.
I just want to be very transparent that if we do this, this could just set us up for something in the future. I could support that in this moment.
I think, yeah. I support that 100%, 200%.
Well, it would be also, recognizing this is a 2-year funding cycle, there would be a shortfall in the second year of $116,000. If we were to use the Black Lives Matter money to fund this.
Oh.
I'm not now personally, I'm not
Maybe
saying we should use that. I think
we are not going to use the Black Lives Matter to fund all this organization.
I don't know that we have to debate where the funding is going to come from.
Dream City is really safe hub for Black people to go there, and that's why I'm saying using the Black Lives Matter funding. Center for Justice for Immigrants who are Black too. Go there. It is really a safe hub for them. Yes, they receive similar services from another organization, which is I 100% admire your work. but not using. That's why I'm just saying we can use some of it.
I'm in favor of increasing the total money, but I continue to believe that our professional city staff has a better sense of who also has ARPA funding, who also has unspent ARPA funding, who also may be asked aggressively versus who asked conservatively. And I think that there's something to be said about that knowledge that's not represented up here.
Or do we want to deal with this all right now? So if we're saying 358 for now, it would be for the future budget. We would also want the city staff for next year's budget as well.
Kind of make one last comment. I don't want to draw this on, but I think this is really important that everybody understands. You are going to be voting on this and making funding allocations that have no bearing to the staff scoring at all. As long as you know that and you're comfortable with that.
I am not.
This will have no bearing to the staff
That's the
scoring.
third time.
I just want to say I'm strongly supportive of increasing funding, but this mechanism is really the wrong way to do it.
I don't disagree with you one bit, but I also know that we're somewhat in a position, and it's not political for me. It's more, how do you go through and determine who gets funding and who don't?
I think that
Your
we
staff
set
tells you.
goals. I think discussion is over and we're voting.
Yes, yeah.
To be clear, this is for the motion to amend. Mo?
No.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1, and now we'll go back. Now we are on that vote. Any other discussion? Because it's been amended. Roll call, please, and this is for the vote to provide funding essentially at the
100%.
100% of request
As amended, right.
as amended.
Okay. Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Mo?
No.
Motion passes 6-1. Item number 11D, tobacco civil penalty and permit suspension, Almost Paradise. Resolution finding an employee sold tobacco to a minor and assessing a $1,500 civil penalty and 60-day retail cigarette permit suspension against Almost Paradise.
In this case, the council cannot rely on the criminal conviction for this determination because the criminal conviction was dismissed. If council does determine that the violation has occurred, then council shall impose a civil penalty. Even though the criminal citation was dismissed, the civil penalty is still imposed against the retailer because Iowa Code Section 453A.22 uses the term violated as the trigger for proceeding with civil penalties as opposed to the term convicted.
This does feel sort of like a court proceeding, but it's not. What standard are we considering as far as the level of proof?
A preponderance, Counselor. Council is sitting in a position of essentially an adjudicator, deciding whether or not it happened. This isn't policy making.
Right.
Should the council decide that it happened, then the council, according to Iowa code, shall impose a penalty if that's the conclusion that's reached. Council doesn't have discretion about the penalty phase.
My name is Shannon Walsh. I'm an attorney in Iowa City, and I represent the owners of Almost Paradise. There are 2 tickets that were dismissed on the same day. This property, this business, has changed hands several times in this time period. Tickets don't transfer to new owners. If the court dismisses it, it should throw this whole thing out. It's really shocking to me the way this law is being applied.
So there has been one change of ownership. There was an attempt to change ownership. I believe it was in May, but it was at the time the moratorium was in effect. But the legal ownership did change from a sole proprietorship to a corporation.
When he went to Iowa City AP, which is the corporation, those are different people. It's changed hands.
From whom?
From whom to whom, yeah.
I was out of town, and Jennifer was out of town, and she didn't get my request. The employee sells to a minor, sure, give him a ticket, find him guilty, fine. But to shut a whole business down is a lot. You're putting a lot of people out of work. You're shutting down a viable tax-paying business. It's just seems completely at odds to what should be done.
This isn't a court of law, and there's witnesses here, but the witnesses didn't show up to the court proceedings.
And it was dismissed. So I had no opportunity to cross-examine her or the police or any of it. And this is not a forum that I can do
You
that.
watched the video with us. We just watched the video with you right now. This is the first time for us too. But
Yeah.
from the video, like it clearly it happened. But what do you think?
I don't think that the video is reliable, frankly. It's very garbled and shaky, and you don't know what's happened exactly. I think you need to be able to have a court determine.
They didn't follow the protocol that the agency has said, and I mean, that's what we're voting on here. There's no judgment here as did it happen or did it not, and the video and all the evidence today show that it happened.
Yes.
So,
I agree with that.
Did this need to be a 20-minute discussion?
roll call, please.
Teague,
Yes?
Wyline,
No.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Saleh.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. We are on to item number 11E, tobacco permit revocation, Almost Paradise, resolution finding an employee sold tobacco to a minor and revoking Almost Paradise retail cigarette permit.
This would be a fifth violation, which would result in the revocation of the permit. Does the recording accurately reflect what occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show the June 27, 2024 recording. Are you aware that that criminal citation was dismissed by the magistrate court?
Yes.
Everything that I said previously applies to this ticket as well, even more so, because they will shut the business down if this is done. There are options for appeals, and they will be taken.
The first violation was June 30 of 2022. The fifth violation is June 27 of 2024. So we've got the 5 within 2 years.
This is a business in our community, and we are not really on a court. And maybe we can become a little flexible.
Seems like a business that profits off selling cigarettes to children.
She's 19, not a child.
I'm not convinced that we should be giving second chances to people who are harming the public health,
Yeah,
or sixth chances.
it is part of our job to decide if we thought a violation occurred or not. The violation occurred, the person never asked for the ID. Adding insult to injury, this was the second time in less than a month with the exact same person.
It wasn't the same exact, oh.
Yeah.
With
It was the
exact
same
staff, or.
I'm sorry, not same staff member, but the same
Yes.
person,
Different staff.
different staff. But the thing is, when you get a permit, you agree to make sure your staff doesn't do this.
We just have to say it is more likely than not that that was a sale of a tobacco product or a nicotine product to a minor or to someone under 21. Sorry, trying to be precise. So I believe the evidence is more than a preponderance. I believe it is very clear.
Just vote, damn it. I want to go.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Wyline,
No.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Saleh,
Yes.
Teague.
Yes, motion passes 6-1.